It's awesome. Good. For me, it's evening. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. My name is indeed Ruben. Thanks for attending this awesome TechJam session. TechJam is like a 30-minute technology session in this context about USX 3.5, and I'm really pleased to do this session together with Hugo. Maybe you can briefly introduce yourself, Hugo.
Yeah, thanks, Ruben. Hi, everyone. So I work in techno marketing at Atlantis, and I'm very pleased to showcase some of the great new features of Atlantis USX 3.5 for you today. Ruben and I have spoken together, many times on webinars and events and such. So it's a great experience to share our thoughts and knowledge around our great new features today with you.
Yeah, awesome. And as mentioned earlier, you can use the questions option in GoToWebinar. I will take a close look at the questions you have. The questions are private, so if you have a question, no one else will see that question. And I can answer that question privately, or I can answer it share the answer for everyone. So if you have questions, please jump in. Don't be shy. Worst case scenario, we don't know the answer, and we'll follow up. But it's always good to have some interaction in a TechJam session like this. This is the second TechJam. First one was packed as well. A lot of questions as well. So don't be shy with questions, and let's get started. So Hugo, with the next slide. So when I look at Atlantis, I can say with a smile on my face that when we look at these developments, starting with USX 2.2 in February 2015, up to USX 3.1 in January 2016. It's really a privilege and awesome to work in a great team like this and to see the solution also evolving and adding new features, new functions in the solutions on a regular and high-speed basis. Adding hyperscale as an appliance, delivering USX 3.0 with Vivo, with replication, with Atlantis Insights. USX 3.1 with DDP-aware stretch cluster, remote office, branch office, and also a lot of technology details and interesting things under the cover. I want to look at 3.5, and Hugo will share more time and more details on 3.5. It is an LTS release. It's awesome to see, and Hugo will do a deeper dive on these things to see what's happening under the covers. And we just have 30 minutes, so we picked I would say couple, but like a handful of what's new topics in 3.5. And there's much more, and at the end you'll see a couple of links to a blog post and other content where you can read more about 3.5 as well. But it's great to see that these 4 topics and other topics are part of 3.5. Health checks, shared storage, disaster recovery, SNAPCLONE, vCenter essential support, driving costs down, easier integration in DR, these type of things. So again, it's really great to see that USX 3.5 is delivered, I think a week and a half ago. And there's more to come in the future as well, so it's always good to stay tuned with what we do within Atlantis. And again, if you have any questions with regards to 3.5, technology, business, sales, marketing, community, please jump in the questions window. I will take a look at that, or send me an email or Hugo an email, and we are more than happy to jump in. Email address is easy. For me, it's ruben@atlantiscomputing.com. I think for Hugo, it's easy as well. It's hugo@atlantiscomputing.com as far as I know. So
yeah, that's
Hugo,
right.
Go ahead, enjoy as well.
Thanks, Ruben. So yes, going back to this slide here, you see that we've constantly tried to innovate as much as possible with releases that we intend to keep as stable and as secure as possible. So with 3.5, we've focused on 3 key areas. The main objectives are pretty much threefold. So making the environment and the USX user experience much more easier to manage, as long as providing greater functionality. And I'll go into those in this session. In additionally, excuse me one second. something's happened to, there we go. In addition, we'll also reduce the amount of underlying resources that's required to run the USX environment, so fewer memory and fewer CPU resources as well. So just to keep everything as streamlined as possible. So let's go into some of these key enhancements. So in terms of workspace, VDI and end-user computing updates, the added features and functions that we added into the product is an on-demand SNAPCLONE, and also the ability to schedule the SNAPCLONE within the USX Manager interface. Now, for those who don't know what a SNAPCLONE is, it's pretty much a point-in-time snapshot of the data, so the contents of an entire in-memory volume. We do this because an in-memory volume is, of course, volatile, right? So, for example, if your host died at that point, you would lose all the contents of that. But with the SNAPCLONE functionality, in previous versions, it takes a SNAPCLONE automatically, and you can also schedule the SNAPCLONE, and you can also do it on demand by using the command line. Okay. In 3.5, we've added it to the user interface. So now you can just do, you can go to Actions and take an on-demand SNAPCLONE, and that SNAPCLONE is then taken, and then you can do whatever maintenance you need to do in the back end. At the bottom there, you can see last successful SNAPCLONE details from the schedule as well, and it will also show you success or failure SNAPCLONEs when you do on-demand SNAPCLONEs as well. So this is in the user interface. However, we've had this feature in our REST API, right? And you can still do these commands within the REST API as well. On top of that, we also have the the PowerShell commandlets, where you can use PowerShell to do these as well. So the options are there. You have the command line, you have the user interface, the REST API, and also the PowerShell commandlets to do these types of management functions as well. We've added the maintenance mode for simple in-memory volumes. So again, you think about having a volume which uses the memory from a hypervisor to present extremely fast inline dedupe-aware and compressed storage to your hypervisor to run things like stateless VDIs. Yeah, we've added the ability to actually live migrate that entire in-memory volume from one hypervisor to another. So what that means is you can keep your users happy by just live migrating using Zen Migrate or vSphere vMotion to migrate that live storage from one hypervisor to another. Okay, and it's a great function and feature that we've added now, which pretty much enables your users to continue working when you put down a host in maintenance. And remember, this is a very high performance volume running from out of memory from a hypervisor. So this kind of innovation is pretty cool in my view. The SNAPCLONEs and everything also works with this as well. So even if you move the migration of a simple volume from one hypervisor to the next, the SNAPCLONE also lives on that new host. And once you put the original host out of maintenance mode, you can then migrate the volume back to the original host to rebalance your cluster. Again, you can do this using the user interface. You can do this using REST API and of course PowerShell as well. So that's a great feature that we've added to 3.5. We've also added additional support for newer hypervisors. So we've always supported, of course, vSphere 5.5. Now we also support Zen Server 7 with 3.5, and of course we've continue to support Zen Server 6.5 and vSphere 6. So USX 3.5 will no longer support vSphere 5.1, and VMware have also decided not to support vSphere 5.1 going forward anyway. So we kind of try to keep the supportability in line with of course the hypervisor vendor supports. Yeah. So in terms of simplified management, let's go into that for a while. So we've added the ability to do health checks pre-deployment. So what this means is, let's say you've just deployed a USX manager, okay, which is the management method for managing your USX cluster. So before you deploy any data stores, any storage at all, you can run a pre-deployment health check. So what this does is, you see on the right there, you see lots of test items with tick boxes next to them. So you test hypervisor accessibility, storage network communications, for example, DNS server, internet access, sufficient compute available for USX to run, and you just press run, okay? And what that does is it checks all those requirements and gives you a result. So it's either a pass or fail or a warning. Warning is pretty much things like internet accessibility, right? We don't actually need internet accessibility on USX for USX to run. It's just internet is required for example, the automated checking of updates and upgrades and hotfixes. Also required for things like our ability to upload the system status and logs up to Atlantis Insight, which is our like a centralized repository for customer logs in the cloud. So if you don't have internet accessibility, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, it will give you a warning. For some of the other things, for example, sufficient hypervisor CPUs, sufficient hypervisor memory, those, yeah, that's a binary yes or no. You can proceed to deploy if you have a yes, but you can't if you have a no. So very, very simple and straightforward, and eliminates many headaches with deployments that fail because you don't know whether the underlying infrastructure is ready to accommodate USX or not. So yeah, it's a great new little feature that we've added, and it's very, very simple to use. In addition to this, we've extended that capability to do pre-upgrade health checks as well. So using the exact same platform, we've added the things like check USX manager available disk space, check the SSH key relationship between the current USX manager and the new one that you're going to upgrade to 3.5. So this is a great thing to use when you're deploying USX 3.5 and you want to upgrade your USX manager and subsequent volumes that USX manager manages. So it also gives you details around, yes, it's capable of being upgraded and you can continue, or no, something's wrong, please check this particular item before you continue your upgrade. Oh, I forgot to mention that in both of the pre-upgrade check and the deployment check, you can print out a report which shows you a list of items to double check if there is something that you do need to check. But generally, if your environment is currently working and you run the pre-upgrade or pre-health check report, it should come back with all green anyway.
Hugo, this is Ruben. Just a quick question on the health checks.
Yeah.
Is it possible that the customer adds a couple of own scripts or own things to the health check, via scripting or something else, or is that just what it is right now?
So right now it is what it is, but I'll go into the plugin framework, right, which is something that, yes, a customer can add to. So with the plugin framework, is it the next one? No, it's not. So it's in another couple of slides, and I'll talk about that when we get there. So with the, again, when you have multiple USX managers, so we have a grid of USX managers which work together to form a highly available management grid. You can promote a secondary USX manager to a primary one with just a single click. All right, so just click on the secondary one or a tertiary USX manager, and click on the actions and set primary USX manager, and the second one will become primary, and the first one will become a secondary. Now this is useful in the sense where you have, for example, two USX managers across multiple sites, and you've lost your first site. then you want to promote your second one to primary. And then the second one is, of course, down. So you can either, leave it down and hope for the first site to come back up, or you can just delete it and deploy a new one when your first data center comes back online, and you can do whatever you like, really. So it's just a case of adding this into the user interface. Previously, we've had this available in the REST API, for example. So we're just presenting functionality from the API, which has been available in previous versions of USX, into the UI. We've added the ability to change the IP of simple volumes. Now, what this means is, we've had lots of customers who've done this in the past, but using scripts that we've helped to create in regards to large projects for, FTSE 100 and Fortune 400 customers, where they had thousands of these simple volumes providing storage for hundreds of thousands of VDI users, and they would do DR between data centers. And when you fail over volumes to another site, the IP range may be different. So the objective here is the ability for us to orchestrate and automate the IP addresses for the storage on, in the event of a DR. So this piece here allows an administrator to change the IP of the storage in the case of, in a DR use case, for example. And this is great because it eliminates, lots of human intervention, human errors, for example, and it makes the RTO a lot quicker. Okay, so this is one of the, I guess, functionalities and features that we've had in the past, but with our professional services team normally doing this, but now we've exposed this to the actual product itself. So the USX plugin framework. So from Ruben's question around what can we do? Can we add, or can a customer add their own scripts to check the health of the environment? Oh, yes, you can. So how you do it is you would create a plugin using Perl, upload it into the plugin framework, and that plugin would, you can check the status of things like, how about, I want to find out all the Windows 10 VMs in my environment, which is running on this USX data store. Okay, and you then just press run, and then it will pop up with a with a window showing, okay, which data storage you want to run the script against, and then it will return results. So the results you see at the bottom there, this one is query the guest VMs. You can do how many VMs run in this data store, or you can do how many VMs is being provided storage by USX. So you can run it onto the entire environment, or you can run how many VMs is running in this particular USX cluster. Okay, so these are some of the queries that you can do using these plugins. So these are the two default plugins that are available with USX 3.5. So guest virtual machine operations, which is power on, power off, shutdown, restart, and guest VM queries. So VM count, memory size, VM name, VM config, and so on. Okay, so we're adding more and more of these from a Atlantis supported plugin perspective, but also we have community supported plugins as well, where other customers and also our ICE community, our Atlantis experts, also contribute to these plugins as well. So of course you can create your own to query the environment on health checks, for example, and that's something that we fully support, and we strive for our customers to do that.
Hugo, just jumping in briefly, also could be a call to action to the attendees. If you're not into scripting, but you have a crazy or an awesome idea about a plugin, just share it with Hugo or me, and we can see if someone else has created that plugin already, or if not, add it to the list and see if well, maybe someone is interested in creating it, or maybe do it ourselves. So if you have ideas about great functionality which we can create with a plugin, share that as well. You can use the questions option or use our email addresses if that's handy.
Yeah. We've also changed the display on the dashboard. So the dashboard is, it's the default view that you see when you log into USX Manager. And we've added some, great new metrics. So these are always updated in real time. So the effective used and the effective available. Now we've, you see the math underneath there. So the effective used is the total capacity minus free capacity divided by 1 minus data reduction rate. So the effective use is actually what is available after we've calculated in real time the inline dedupe and compression that we provide for a particular volume. Okay, so here you see the data reduction is 87%, the total capacity is 20 gigs, and the free capacity is 12 gigs. So pretty much the effective use is 61.5 gig, and the effective available is 92.3. So this actual volume is quite small, 20 gig, but you see that even though we've only created a data store of 20 gig in size, the applications have used 61.5 gigabytes, and therefore it works out that it actually has available 92.3 based on the real-time calculations that it does. Now what happens is if you then deployed a virtual machine with disk encryption with lots of video and JPEG files in that virtual machine, then of course the effective used would also increase and the effective available would decrease and the data reduction would decrease by a lot. All right. So that's that's what the new dashboard tries to present, is real-time data of your usage of a particular USX volume. So that's quite good. And you can actually see that, live on the dashboard. You can also export all that information using the REST API as well. And of course, you can also use, I'm writing a plugin that does that using the plugin process as well. So lots of ways to get this data out. So resource improvements, we've added support for vCenter Essentials. What that means is you can have a small cluster in a remote and branch office that supports 3 hosts as a minimum. We do have support, so USX does support 2 hosts, by the way, with 2 CPUs each. So, but the ability to support vSphere Essentials is ideal for Robo deployments as well. So typically we're seeing savings in terms of vSphere licensing anything between $7,000 to $8,000. In terms of infrastructure required, we've decreased the amount of memory we require for our USX deployment, and also reduced the amount of disk storage required for the SNAPCLONE disk. So we've reduced the memory down and also the SNAPCLONE disk down by around 50%. So which is really good. So now we actually consume less resources to run the USX environment, but we still provide the same amount of stability and awesome performance as before. And this is why USX being pure software, we're able to just innovate and accelerate our development around our software, around our code, very quickly. So reduction in memory and reduction in SNAPCLONE disk. We take advantage of improvements in hardware, for example, with Intel version 4 CPUs, with great new flash technologies and improvements in memory speeds and so on. We can actually provide a lot better performance. Yeah, so that's a brief overview of the features and functions. I'll hand you back to Ruben.
Yeah, of course. A couple of things. If you want to, I was just typing it in the chat window. If you want to use 3.5, it's available in the partner customer portal. If you don't have access to that, you can contact as well, evaluate with a link here, or send Hugo or me an email if that's like the other option. Not 3.5 related, but still very interesting, is the Ultimate Desktop Virtualization Guide. It's a community-created desktop virtualization best practices guide. Around 230 different best practices in 14 different categories are created by 33 different community peers. Hugo and I, we both shared some of our best practices. So you can download that VDI guide from the URL you see in this on the screen. As mentioned earlier, this is like a short 30-minute TechJam session. We'll do a TechJam session next month as well. If you have ideas about a new topic, let us know. Thinking about automation, REST API, scripting is one of the topics on the top of my mind, but maybe you have an even better idea or a great idea, so let us know what kind of ideas you want to see executed in TechJams. I think that's I think there, when you look at community.atlantiscomputing.com, so community.atlantiscomputing.com, there's also a blog post about 3.5 and also other interesting blog posts. So please take a look at community.atlantiscomputing.com, where you see great insights. Let's see if we have some questions we can answer. One of the questions, Hugo, is about upgrade. Can you explain how the upgrade process works from a previous version to 3.5?
Right. So it's a very, very simple process. So what you would do if you already had a USX, 3.x or 2.x environment, is you would deploy the new USX manager. So it's just an OVF deployment in vCenter, or a virtual machine a deployment in XenCenter. And you would basically, in the VApp pop-up window, right, the parameters that show, you pretty much says, oh, this is the new USX manager. It will say enter the old IP of the old USX manager, the password and the credentials, and basically that will then deploy the new USX manager 3.5. And when that boots up, it then would copy all the the data from the old database over, and then promote itself to be the primary UX manager, and then the old one would be no more. And that's pretty much it. So that's the USX manager upgrade process. From there, you can then do the one-click upgrade for all of the USX environment, which is all the underlying volumes and storage that you use. And that's, we try to make it as easy as possible. So that's pretty much how it works. Okay,
different question, Hugo, from Herman is, do all the existing hyperscale appliances models support USX 3.5?
So all the existing ones will also be upgraded in a similar way as well. So if you have a hyperscale appliance today running USX 3.1.2, the upgrade process would just be the same as the USX 3 upgrade process. So you would download the USX Manager 3.5 from the portal, deploy that, or you can download I forgot to mention, there's also an upgrade package that you download and then apply it to the current USX Manager and upgrade it that way. So there's two ways to do that, either using the upgrade package, which uses your current USX Manager, or deploy a new USX Manager, and then migrate the database across. So a couple of ways to do it. It's pretty straightforward when you see this in action.
If a customer buys a hyperscale, like 5 hyperscale appliances tomorrow is just an example, is that does it also include 3.5, or is it 3.1.2 for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I'm not quite sure whether yeah, that's a pretty good question. I'll have to go in and just have a look at the timeline.
That's the question Herman meant. I know Herman and I know what kind of that's the impression. Okay, I will double check as well. I think there's an yes, you smile at Herman in the questions as well. I will double check. As far as I know, there's it's the same core, like the USX software is applied also to hyperscale and USX, of course. It's the same core. There's no separate tracks. The release, there will be an update release on Hyperscale. I'm not sure if I can share the date of that, but I will reach out to Herman because I think that's what he meant.
Yeah, I think
and based on the email he sent.
Yeah, I think you can upgrade Hyperscale today with USX 3.5, but if you ordered your Hyperscale today, I don't think it's 3.5. No, it'll be 3.1.2. Yeah, and then I think we'll have to find out the date when that is going to be new orders.
That's not another date to share in this webinar, but there's more to come, which is great. Won't take that long, so stay tuned. Let's see some other feedback. There's another question by Dan. Backup to disk updates would be great to see in real time. Is feedback from Dan. Maybe we can do that from the scripting framework. Well, that's more feedback. I will write it down. See what the other folks inside Atlantis can do with that. Let's see what we have. USX on AWS or Azure. There's a question / feedback by Adrian. Yeah, that's not something available today, but when you look at longer-term roadmap, that's definitely something we with SQLite are considering. These kind of things. So our play in cloud, public cloud, make that happen is definitely something something which fits in what we have in mind. Yep.
Yep.
I think let's see if there's some other questions I didn't answer. There are like a handful, maybe 2 handful of questions I answered privately about Zen server, IOPS. No, I think it's we've answered the questions privately or in the TechJam, so that's fine. In the chat window, there is the link to the blog post Hugo wrote. So in the chat window, there's a link, and I mentioned already community.atlantiscomputer.com as well. So if you're interested in that, please take a look. And with that, well, let's call it a day. It's evening already on this side, and if it's not an evening, it's a morning. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, for joining in. Thanks, Hugo, for sharing your insights. Again, if you have questions, please reach out to us. Follow us on Twitter for new tech jams. If you have ideas about features, about functions, about scripting framework, all these kind of things, we're nimble enough to help you with that. And please reach out to us where possible. Have a great day. Thanks for joining, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.